We are live. Hello,
There
everyone.
we
We are in person
go.
to talk about
Woohoo!
alchemy and the lunar cycle. This is Eve of Evening Star Maps and Frank Salzano,
Hey.
Medicine of the Starry Heavens. And this is a little bit impromptu, like sort of planned, sort of half planned. So I don't know. Did you share it with people? I shared it a little today.
This is live.
Yes.
I wasn't even sure if we were going live or just recording it and releasing it later, so I didn't tell anyone.
Well, so I thought about that, and what we're going to do, we're going to talk about the current lunar cycle, but we're going to do a really heavy focus today on alchemy and go into the art of alchemy and the colors of alchemy and how these processes bring the pain and suffering that we experience into something that we can work with and experience and have an aesthetic appreciation of. And tying it in with this really alchemical moment that we're in. But what I want to do is, because this is a piece that we want to have longevity with, is for people who are watching this in the future, really give the, like, go back to your calendars, go back to your photos, go back to this moment in time, because it's not, I mean, it's still evergreen, you know, because this moment is super, super important for the future. And you know, if you're watching this in the future, it's not tied to the lunar cycle right now. It's still very relevant to go back and see, like, okay, what were the seeds that were planted in that moment for what I'm building now?
Yeah, the spring of 2026 will be something historians look back at for probably centuries and millennia, and saying,
legit,
oh, some things happened that year and that spring, and that big pile up in Aries, and you know, so the perennial wisdom of alchemy and working with Aries energy, you know, it's it'll be timeless.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
It is.
So something I want to ask you, Frank, and we're going to talk about the astrology, but we're just like, you know, saying the interesting stuff first before we just like get into the digits. What I have picked up on the past couple of days is that, like, in my experience, I saw this and I've heard other people say this, but really starting to feel in my experience that I feel like this lunar cycle is defining, and the occurrences in this lunar cycle are defining what the Saturn-Neptune conjunction is about. Because the Saturn-Neptune conjunction happened at 0 degrees of Aries back in February. And now we have all of these other planets blowing through and hitting it. And that's the lunar cycle that we're in right now, that began in mid-April, and it ends in a couple of days on Saturday. Dark moon, full moon, dark moon, that cycle that we're talking about right now. So all of these planets have come in and hit Neptune and then hit Saturn.
So that lunar cycle was the new moon in Aries.
Yes.
And then with Chiron. And then the full moon in Scorpio.
Yes.
And now the new moon in Taurus.
Yes.
Conjunct algal.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and so each one is tying in Chiron and Mars and Mercury.
Right, because they've all had a conjunction with Chiron's been in every single one.
Every single
something.
Yes, every
with
single
Mars,
of
with
those
Mercury,
lunations.
with the Sun and Moon. Chiron's just been bouncing around with everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And Mars has been super involved too.
Super involved, and also in the Mars ruled sign.
Yeah, and Mars, because that lunar cycle has been Mars going through Aries, meeting up with Saturn and Neptune. Right.
Exactly. Like every Aries season, we don't get Mars in Aries.
Right. Right.
Etc. But very heavy Mars influence, very heavy Chiron influence. And this is Chiron's last days in Aries too. So we're learning what Chiron and Aries is all about right now, and that, like, this is happening to Chiron at the end.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And, you know, just to, you know, I mean, I feel like most of this conversation will be into the nitty-gritty of alchemy for the sake of that, but like
we're setting it up to the current moment of time.
So that current moment, like the stuff that is feeding the I mean, look, maybe we could even start off by saying, you know, alchemy starts with the prima materia,
Mm-hmm.
right? The primal material. And so then, like, what is the prima materia of this moment that we're seeing this spring
Mm-hmm.
that is going to be unfolding throughout the whole
Saturn
and Aries transit, Neptune and Aries transit, all this stuff is like, we have all the Epstein file stuff that's been dropping.
Yeah.
The sacred wound, we were getting into that last time. We have the war. You know, we have the geopolitical shift of the world, and Trump and China, and you know, Xi Jinping and Trump meeting right now. And then
let's drop the date.
Yeah, sure. What's the date?
May the 15th.
Yeah, Friday, May 15th.
And we started a little after 4:30 Eastern time. Okay.
So we also have Xi Jinping and Trump talking largely about the heart of the global industrial economy, which is rare earth minerals that are used for microprocessing chips for artificial intelligence, and the Iran war and oil. So speaking of alchemy, we're talking about all the shit they mined from the underworld. That is the whole basis of industrial modernity. So all of that is changing right now in unprecedented ways. The heart of modernity, you know, and we're seeing, and then there's AI that's built on top of that infrastructure, and we're seeing artificial general intelligence waking up, arguably in the last month or so. And so, you know, and that's playing into, and then there's also like, so there's the extraction, the sacred wound, the AI, the war, the geopolitical shifts, economic shifts it's going through. And then there's like, depending on where you're at with it, you know, everyone's on their disclosure trip too, you know. It's like, what's going on with extraterrestrials. I mean, so this is another layer of like the idea of being like pioneering new, like revelation, you know, like new things that are starting a whole new historical era for life on Earth and humanity and human consciousness. And then the question of alchemy then is like, okay, well, how do you, that's the prima materia. So then, like, what's the spiritual work and the things that come up with all that primal material, you know? That's it, right?
And what's hitting me from that you're saying is there's so much understandably, you know, and like I relate too, of just like, fuck, like, oh, I just want to go back to the woods and live, like be a human, you know, like what is happening? Everything is turning into machine, and it's like, this is what we have to work with. You know, this is the prima materia, like this is what we get to do the process with. No matter what Earth is doing, it's gonna be an alchemical process. That's what it is here. And so, you know, like we can waste our energy wishing that it wasn't so, or like even worse so, trying to actually take effort to make it not so. Or we can be like, okay, let's alchemize this baby.
Yeah, totally. And I think really, I mean, I just started my medical astrology class series 2 nights ago. And you know, the whole entire first class was on the sacred wound and then the trauma of the way that we form protection mechanisms around the sacred wounds that we carry. And the whole it was a 3-hour talk. I mean, it was getting into the nitty-gritty of developmental trauma cycles and stuff, but in the planets, because that's what I see as connecting to disease later in life. Is our wounds that then create the patterns that then wind up wearing on our body over time.
Absolutely.
You know? But the whole first intro class was a 3-hour lecture on basically like, how is the sacred wound connected to some sort of the vitalism of life and the evolutionary pulse and eros of life, and how we relate to that. And then the fact that we create this protective civilized infrastructure that is basically based on extracting. It's like the toxic alchemical, the non-alchemical toxic extraction, you know, forest fire that's going on, chronic inflammation, and like versus the like, okay, so that's all happening. The extraction machine is well underway. You know, the toxic, shadowy chemist game is being played with Earth, you know? So then like we're all we're all dealing with that, and
Yeah.
we're all having to figure out the spiritual and emotional and therapeutic process alchemically to like
Yeah.
to use it and all the shadowy things that it brings about to actually have some sort of personal transformation and personal and cultural, you know, evolution and repair.
Yes.
In all of this. So that's kind of like the big picture in my mind, you know.
Yeah.
Here
yeah.
we are.
And, you know, again, going back to like, that is the prima materia. That is the, you know, the bottom line of alchemy is, and we're going to talk about the colors, and like there's dozens and dozens of different processes, alchemical processes, but there are some fundamental foundations, and the union of opposites is one of them. And it, I mean, is like the bottom level. And so when we see all of that toxic, poisonous extraction, you know, death machine, that's it. That's like the loamy, dark, nasty, that is necessary to engage with the beauty and the art and the culture and the healing processes. You know, like we wouldn't need the healing processes if there wasn't a wound. We need the wound to experience the healing, because that healing process is what evolves us. But if we don't get wounded first, then we don't get to do the evolution.
My theory at this point in time is that the soul comes to Earth for the trauma.
Yeah, mine too.
That's why.
Absolutely.
You didn't come here for safety. You came here to get traumatized.
No, you came here. I'm so with you.
Or else you wouldn't be here.
You wouldn't be here. That's what it is. Like, that's what it is. And so getting on board with that really speeds along the process.
Yeah, it really does. It helps. Well, it helps you. It clears a bunch of the blocks that are getting you from like avoiding the alchemical journey, anyways. You know,
you just say yes to it, and then you're like, oh, and so again, like the practical of like, you can spend the evening watching the news and getting pissed off, or you can go like, oh, I came here for this. Let me actually not watch the news tonight and learn about alchemy and train myself to do some deep healing work on the weekend, you know, or like do a ritual,
for sure.
You know, or like engage with another human on your shit and like go into it.
Yeah, for sure. Know? For sure. Yeah. Do you want to, I have some notes with me that I took from we'll be probably referencing several times in this talk, this lecture from the 1980s.
Is that the time period?
Yeah, so 80... it's like 40 years old or something. That's the late,
early 80s?
I think it's the late 80s.
Okay.
So, and it's a lecture that James Hillman gave, the father of archetypal psychology.
Give his connection, like, so there's...
Yeah, so he was
Jung.
So James Hillman, so Carl Jung founded depth psychology, right? And then, which was super, I mean, Carl Jung spent like the second half of his career obsessed with alchemy, right? And wrote 2 huge volumes on it. And then Hillman was the first person to take over the Carl Jung, the Institute in Zurich in Switzerland.
So, and he learned directly from Carl.
Yeah, so James Hillman was the hotshot youngster on the scene.
Gotcha.
That was surrounded by all the Jungian heavyweights at the time. Cool. Edinger.
He's Young. Like Chris Brennan of the astrologer.
Yeah, something like that, you know.
Because Chris Brennan was hanging around with the Project Hindsight people, and he was like young, right? 19.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. So that's what Hillman was like, young back in the day, right? And in the 40s or whatever, 50s, you know, like Joseph Campbell was hanging out with them.
Cool.
Eliade, Henry Corbin, who the Sufi, big translator of Sufism, right?
Cool.
And that's what Hillman did. Hillman took the work of Carl Jung, Western psychological, scientific, biblical, Christian mysticism, Christian alchemy.
Christian alchemy. Wow, that's a phrase.
That's what Jung was really into, Christian alchemy.
Totally.
I mean, that's the alchemists. And it was Christian mystics that saved the alchemical imagery and books in the Middle Ages.
Interesting.
You know, Dante.
And then, like, that's Dante, yeah.
Dante's all up in that.
Yeah.
And so Carl Jung brought all that lineage. Henry Corbin brought the Sufism lineage and the Islamic mysticism.
Yeah.
and then James Hillman, the first person to take over the Zurich Institute from Jung.
Okay.
Hillman combined Henry Corbin and Carl Jung, and that is what he offered. And that's the foundation and the starting point of archetypal psychology, which is also where then Rick Tarnas was getting growing up in, which became archetypal astrology.
Yeah.
And so this is getting back to the roots of that bridge.
Yeah.
Basically, the generation between Jung and Corbin and archetypal astrology. This lecture we're going to be referencing from the 80s is like this epic 3-day long lecture on alchemy by Hillman.
And they do bring in, so Carl Jung and Hillman both, they will bring in astrology and and astronomy and tying that. I mean, it is very much, has always been integrated with alchemy and with magic.
Yeah, I mean, Liz Green has like 2 books on Carl Jung and astrology.
And astrology,
you know? And then Hillman, when asked once, he was always kind of a smart ass and a character, and was always like slightly like had a chip on his shoulder against astrology. You know?
I gathered that
because of the new age freaking astrology world, you know.
Yeah.
Like, but he when asked,
because at that time there was no Hellenistic astrology at that time. It was strictly psychological, and it was like 30 years old or something.
Yeah, it felt like a newbie, and it felt, and a lot of people were just doing. I mean, there was Dane Rudger, and there was Liz Greenkamp, but a lot of the astrology community probably felt like kind of shallow new agey stuff.
Yes,
and Hillman didn't take it seriously,
which we've all experienced.
And
so it was even more so then, because they did not have.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. Was it worse then or now?
It was worse
with the internet the way it is these days.
Right. Oh,
but whatever. But
he said it. Wait, no, he said it's worse now.
I'm wondering.
Oh yeah,
I don't have an opinion.
But we should ask him.
But Hillman.
James Tarnas. Not is it James?
Oh, James
Richard
Tarnas.
I mixed him up.
Yeah. I mean,
because Richard Tarnas is still around.
Yeah, he is. I mean, there's no doubt. There's no doubt that 2 things have happened to astrology, right? On one hand, we got, dude. I mean, we're the first generation that can combine Hellenistic, Vedic, all of it. You know, there's freaking. I mean, you know what I do? It's like Babylonian star lore and indigenous star lore. I mean, there's so much. Also, as astrology's gone, as modernity breaks down and people look at ancient paradigms for wisdom and maps, astrology's also become pop culture.
Yes.
So there's also just hordes and hordes and hordes of, you know, like people selling you things.
You can just say like,
world, right?
I'm an astrologer. This is astrological, and like people have bad experiences with astrology because they're just getting like shitty. Oh, and then then the AI.
I mean, people are coming to me with. The app's freaking me out. What do I? Or ask ChatGPT, it's freaking me out.
Totally. I broke up with my boyfriend because it matched me with my best friend.
So I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. But back to the alchemy piece and Hillman. You know, it's like Hillman once was asked Hillman was asked, how do you create a cosmos? What's if you had to pick something, what's the fundamental container and starting point to actually begin to reconstitute the cosmos and a real cosmology, so that mythology and psychology has a cosmology it can rest on and be contained by? And Hillman said, you know, for lack of a better answer, the best thing I could come up with is astrology.
Yeah.
And I mean, the next layer in my mind is, after studying star lore for the last 7 years and, you know, mythology and Vedic and Western, you know, astrology, my answer is, well, there's a fundamental clear understanding of indigenous cosmology in star lore that astrology is the tip of the iceberg of.
Yes.
So like we have the cosmology still. The people of the world have been holding it, and a lot of it is hidden a lot of it is hidden in our understanding of astrology. And a lot of it is, you know, and it's not a coincidence. I mean, what am I doing tomorrow night? I'm doing Dante's Trip Through Paradise.
Yes.
That's where Dante says, here it is. Here's your cosmology. Here's the package. Journey through heaven. And of course, the first, you know, phases of that are through the planetary spheres, you know? So it's really it's really cool. Like it's like the
I
cosmos.
can't wait. That's why.
know?
So that's why we're here right now together. We've done a couple of things where we're in separate places, but I'm in Asheville to see my god kids and also to see Paradiso. So to go on top of the mountain and hear this ancient wisdom being passed down by this brilliant soul here. It's such an honor.
It'll be a clear night.
Yeah.
We're gonna get some stars.
Yeah, so we're like doing it and looking at the planets. I mean, we're gonna be able to see Jupiter, we're gonna be able to see Venus.
You know what's cool is right now when you look up sidereal in the sky, Jupiter is sitting there with Castor and Pollux.
Oh yeah, I saw that the other day and I was like,
yeah,
is that Castor and Pollux? And I was gonna get my little thing to, but I didn't, but I knew.
Yeah. Castor and Pollux are with Jupiter right now. And what's really cool is is that when Dante leaves the sphere of Saturn and goes to the sphere of the fixed stars, there's literally a bridge drops down,
right,
and he goes up the bridge with St. Peter into the fixed stars, and in the fixed stars Dante lands. When he gets to the fixed stars, he lands in the constellation Gemini.
Oh my god, I knew you were going to say
on
that.
the Milky Way, and is Dante's birth sign, and mine too.
Right.
You know.
Right. I remember that.
And so
and then it's right there with Jupiter.
And there's a whole rap of courting Gemini, and Dante's like all about Gemini. It's really sweet. So we're gonna.
Oh, this is very good timing.
Yeah,
it's like
really
it's like you knew.
It's perfect. Yeah. Right. So, but but back to alchemy, right? So we have some notes from the James Hillman lecture. There's some things we want to talk about, and we could talk about the prima materia. We could dip into the flame. I also want to
say hello, Claire. Hello, Margaret.
Hey. So we could dip into.
Yes.
I see 3 places. We could start with the colors.
Yeah.
We could start with the heat and the types of heat.
Yeah.
We could start with Hillman's breakdown on the types of prima materia.
Yeah.
I don't really care. Do you have a preference?
I think we should. I think we should start with the prima materia because it's first.
Okay. Sure.
I mean, it's in the word.
Okay. Yeah.
Prima means
cool.
First.
All right.
So, and that's like, I think that is, that is where we all begin, and to have the revelation that like, oh, this is exactly what's meant to be happening. This thing that sucks, and I can make something from it, and I can engage into this process. And learning about alchemy gives you this extremely meaningful frame of reference, and humans can withstand anything if we can understand the meaning of it. And then there's phases of meaninglessness in alchemy too, so then you're like, okay, that's part of it.
Right.
So but like that's where we all begin. Whoever's here now, whoever watches this in the future, it's like, well, I don't know anything about alchemy. It's like, yes you do. You came to Earth, and like if you have some shitty shit in your life that you don't like, then you're ready. You're ready to learn about alchemy.
The best therapy modalities in my mind are always these present moment based realities and embodied, presence where there's nowhere you're supposed to be other than right where you are, right? You're starting where you are.
Yeah.
And that's the nature of the prima materia is what is going on in your life right now. Okay. Well, that's your prima materia, And so Hillman,
original material.
Yeah.
What we start with.
Totally.
So.
Yeah. And so the way Hillman likes to talk about it, this is the stuff that we have that we've coming in with, and this is the stuff that, is the deep unconscious funks of our life that that you wind up hitting midlife or whatever, when you're hitting your midlife crisis or your soul's descent or whatever it is, when you actually dip into your initiatory alchemical experiences in life, whether you go there because you're like, yo, I want to be a yogi, or whether you go there because you're like, oh my gosh, everything's crashing, and I've been irresponsible,
and you have to.
Whatever brings you there, what are you sitting with when you're sitting in it, right? And so Hillman does a good job of translating a bunch of Latin of what the alchemists in the Middle Ages say, here's the starting point, right? And so I'm just going to share some of these, right?
I'm ready for it.
So a really good one, because you kind of hinted on this, right, is the massa confusa, the big confusion, right? It's okay to start with, I'm just sitting in a big mess of confusion.
Like I got
And
nothing.
That's all I've got.
I got nothing.
Yes, there's no clarity, there's no compass, there's no map.
Yeah.
I'm disassociated from my body. I'm just no relationships aren't working.
Yeah.
I'm just confused about all of this.
Yeah.
Like that's a legit place to start.
Absolutely. And like also like I have nothing. Maybe like profound physical illness, extreme loss, major trauma, even collective trauma, like being in a place where really, really bad things are happening. Like these are all examples of that.
Yeah, that will bring in the element of confusing the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It makes me think too of how in Vedic astrology, the South Node K2 is really, I mean, that's the starting point in my mind, because that's breaching you back into your ancestral karma. So whatever you're coming in with, your ancestral karma is behind it. And what is one of the names of K2 of the South Node in astrology is in Vedic astrology translates to the big misty cloud. Because you're just lost in this cloud and it's confusing and you don't know where to go. And like that's what the South Node is kind of like in some ways. Like we don't consciously see all of our ancestral karma and wounding and with clarity. It's like all we know is we're fumbling around this cloud. But you like have with astrology context and the South Node, what it is, you have a it's like you can't make sense of the confusion. But it's your confusion. Like it's like you've inherited something that is yours. And for some reason you've created this circumstance or the situation. And so like it is your confusion. And that's the Masa Confusa. So
for sure. I also want to bring into that it's like this is also the earth game, that we don't get to experience the enlightening of our consciousness without first the forgetting. So it's just part of the deal. It's part of the deal. Like you come here,
that's good,
and whatever was before, like if you remembered it, then you wouldn't there's no point to the earth experience. You don't get the evolution without the remembering. So like we're here to remember, and again, like in order to remember, we have to have first forgotten.
Stuff's not, the Sufi language would be like, stuff is not going to be revealed if it's not first concealed.
Yes.
And the Martin Prechtel language would be, the fundamental nature of humanity is to be a silly amnesiac. That's a good place to start.
Like, absolutely.
And think about how liberating that is, right? Especially in a Christian culture.
Liberating, that's right.
Like in a Christian culture, you're not starting an original sin.
No.
You're starting an amnesia.
Yes.
You're just forgot. It's okay.
It's okay. And then that's why this topic is so important, because there's all this pressure to like have your shit together, to not be an amnesiac, to like have clarity and understanding and be in the top side world, and so then there's this faking and pretending that you are, and like we go out, we get a job, it's a 9 to 5, it pays the bills, like we go through the motions and we're like taking care of shit, but like we have no idea who we are or like, what this is. Like that's fake. That's faking it. But it's like with the ego.
Gosh, there's a lot of
our culture's ego is so pressuring us to do that, and it's like there's a bravery in just being like, no, I'm a silly fucking amnesiac. Like I have no idea.
What's interesting is like, gosh, you reminded me of. I feel like I live with so much. I feel like I live in a community of so much authenticity.
Yes.
That I forget how fake, like things can be or whatever. But I remember it's
a very small portion of
the world that's not super fake.
Yes.
Or of American culture that's not super
No, it's
fake.
A very small portion. Like most of the culture is not what you are experiencing day in and day out.
I remember being a kid. Maybe this is part of my prima materia. I remember being a kid. And I remember the Catcher in the Rye was this book that fell into my lap, and I got really into it. And I just remember how he's the kid. What I identified with it was that the kid Holden Caulfield is he's so fucking pissed because in his mind and his language, everyone's a phony. And everything is fake, and he's just going on about that, the phoniness and the fakeness. And I remember it was the first time I came across that as like a 15 or 14-year-old kid. It's the first time I came across that, like, man, all this bullshit, my suburban parents, and all this stuff, and like it's so fake. Like, what's with all this plastic phony shit? Like, life is stripped of authenticity and this like postmodern mess, you know?
That's hilarious.
So that's a place to start.
Totally.
In the phoniness of life, you know, in the plastic industrial culture.
Exactly.
And God, I mean, the kids these days, I mean, with Instagram and stuff, holy shit, dude. I mean, people aren't even, I mean, you don't even know if you're dealing with real people half the time. Absolutely. It could be AI bots at this point in time.
Absolutely. And remembering like what we experienced and waking up in the fakeness and being like, oh, wait, this is fake. But like what it is now. But there also, it seems like kids are waking up more earlier than we did. I don't know. Again, sure maybe it's my bubble too.
No, kids are waking up. People are waking up. You know?
Everybody's waking up.
Do you want me to list some more of these?
Yeah.
All right, so check it out. I'll just throw some of them out, and we could figure out which ones you want to wrap it up.
Yeah, throw them out, and we won't like go off for 15 minutes on one.
Yeah, that's good. All right. There's the Black Mountain. So there's the epic, heavy, you know, depression of like, oh my gosh, I'm having to climb this huge black mountain. Right. Or
being crushed by the huge black mountain.
Yeah, totally. So that's like a Saturnian place to start, right? There's the petty slime. So that's the neurosis. That's the, like, you know.
So evocative.
Yeah, totally. The petty slime of like life is just the slimy muck of people's petty bullshit. You know, your partner, your coworkers, everyone's just like fucking bombarding you with petty stuff. Petty
shit, and like the consistency of slime. And so alchemy is all about like the material and how it feels physically. The consistency of slime, it's like you can't move through it. It's sticky.
It's like a dysfunctioning lymph system.
Yes. And you're just like and you're stagnant and you know, there's a heaviness there too. It's different than the Black Mountain.
There's the Virgin's Milk.
Ooh.
Which is like the innocence trip.
Right?
Which
is
like,
James Hillman talks about how dangerous and shadowy innocence is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Americans love that one.
He
really stuck it to white America on that one. I'm like, you guys were pretending to be innocent. You're like sitting in the world's biggest empire. You know?
And meanwhile, you know what we're seeing now, but like that shit was happening when he was doing this. It was just much more varied.
He was
now we're like seeing it come forward.
He was a prophet.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So so there's the petty slime, the Virgin's Milk.
That's great.
Yeah. There is the hidden fire, which he talks about how I think he even explicitly references this. It's almost like, it's like your starlight. It's like your inner light. You have a flame, you have a spark, you have a fire inside of you. But it's hidden and suppressed and forgotten about. And so sometimes the best you get is your soul. You're just like, soul, come on. I know it's in there somewhere. Where is this hidden spark of life inside me? You know? So there's plenty of references to the sting or the venom. They're just getting hit with some poisonous shit. You know? There's the signal star. So there is like sometimes, you know, you're starting off and you don't know what's going on or what you're doing or how you're going to transform, but you have a certain virtue or you have a certain, you know, like you have a North Star. You know, and you just know, I just got to keep, there's some sort of strong fiber core in there. I just got to keep coming back to that place, my signal star, and everything else will burn off and melt and do its process if I just keep coming back to that place. That's my starting point. So there's the, I'm going to save this one for last. So we're going to go. So there's the soul in the cage. Another Saturnian vibe, right?
Yes.
You know, just feeling like your fucking soul is trapped in a cage.
Stuck.
You know, think of Max Weber, the iron cage of modernity. You know, like, I mean, we're just in it. You know, bills are piling up, all the soullessness.
And I want to bring a little Taoist piece into that. That makes me think of, so like in Taoism, so where we are right now is my Taoist teacher's house. In Taoism, that's the wood element, and the wood element is Aries season, which we're in Taurus season now, but there's so much Aries in this talk, and in this moment still, it's like Taurus season is highly Aries colored, but it's the little bitty soft baby shoot that comes through the concrete, that like has the intensity of life force to move, to like bust through the concrete, but the prima materia version of it is like the moment before it breaks the concrete, because like, so this is more of the prima materia. We've covered the world with, we've covered the earth, this beautiful biosphere, with concrete and all of these plants, like the frustration of the plant that's just like, fuck, like I have so much life force, but like there's this concrete. And so the prima materia part of it is like before it busts. Like Aries is when it breaks through the concrete, but the prima materia is like that frustration that you feel there's this life force inside of me that wants to come out, is so suppressed.
Get the soul out of the cage.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's funny. One of the names of the prima materia is the stratifying seed. So think about that. Like the seed has to sit dormant and go through stratification. Seeds that have to be overwintered.
Yes.
You're like sitting in the frozen ground before you can sprout. You can't just take a seed from the fall and sprout it. Like it has to go through the chemical process and whatever it's doing, sitting under the ground frozen for
cold, stillness, darkness.
Totally, dude. Yep. There's the belligerent sword. There's just this wielding swords all over the place, and that's like someone lost in anger and just like attacking
and what we're seeing on the world stage right now.
Totally,
the belligerent sword.
Another, so then the last one, the Hillman's list that he talks about in this lecture, is the one that a theme we're going to come back to a bunch because it's such a fun one, is the rebus, is the hermaphrodite.
Yes.
So sometimes the work is starting in your own hermaphroditic consciousness. It's your own, where are you at in your like polarities, your dialectical reality, your paradoxes, your ambivalence, like just the whole dialectical nature of like your indecisiveness, this like your fragments, and then how do we start going through the process? Well, that needs to be melted, and that needs to be glued to that, and that needs to be cooked so it can connect to that, and so then the whole process. But you're starting with some sort of hermaphroditic situation. I want to color that a little bit and say like an example of this that I see all the time with my clients and myself and my friends, of course, too. But is when we're in this kind of moment where like we fucking know the right thing to do. We know the thing that we want to do. We know what we want to happen. And that part of our consciousness seems to be, this is like our conscious awareness is like doing everything it can to make that thing happen. But then there's this other part of us that is sabotaging it. Well, this is self-sabotage. But that other part of us has a different idea of what's the right thing to do. So there are these two opposite forces inside of us. Like, this is the right thing to do. No, actually, it's this right thing to do. And they will tend to be an active force and a receptive force, a yin and a yang. And once they can like talk to each other and get on the same page and be like, oh, we're actually two sides of the same coin and we want the same thing. Let's figure out how we can compromise like any two people. Like we always have two people inside of us. And when we can't make those integrate in the alchemical process, then we get stuck and we can't move forward. Yeah, for sure. The union of opposites, it's real. And it's like, it is a, the phrase they use in alchemy for the hermaphrodite, the rebus, Hermes, Aphrodite, hermaphrodite, right? Mercury, Hermes, Venus, Aphrodite. So it is the hermaphrodite experience is a Mercury-Venus experience, which means that Mercury is bringing in all that dialectics and ambivalence and imagination and fantastic experience, you know? And then, so the alchemists called it the sensual fantastic. And Venus is bringing in the body and the senses and sensuality. And
wait, what you call it? Something different.
I like to call it the sensual imaginal, because I like the word I just think imaginal captures what I think the alchemists meant by fantastic.
I agree.
In the Middle Ages,
I think they would agree with you.
Yeah, and I think now we just use the word fantasy with such
differently.
It's such a like escape, and it's not real.
Yeah,
but yeah. So I think that the sensual imaginal, and it's incorporating both Venus and Mercury, So, and it's interesting because, well, Venus certainly brings a certain divine feminine capacity.
Yeah.
And Mercury brings a gender ambiguous energy that can go to a more male pole in Hermes.
Yeah.
But it also can, I mean, Mercury energy by itself is pretty gender bending.
Yes.
But when you throw Venus and Mercury together, you wind up with, so many layers of ambivalence.
Yes.
And like different, it's not just male and female. It's even like, it's spirit and body.
Yeah.
There's just so many layers to it of how the hermaphroditic process really works.
Yeah.
And
it's creative ambivalence. It's movement.
Yeah.
It's like these, and this is what we're seeing in the culture, in really beautiful ways, like in recent decades of gender evolution, is like breaking out of those definitions. And then those definitions are still useful because we live in a dynamically dualistic situation. I mean, darkness and light, life and death, male and female. Like, it is dual here.
Yeah. And
also there's something beyond that. And those two characters together are just like, no, there's so much beyond that. And to break out of it and to allow what is alive to arise.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's like, I mean, there's a reason why Tantra and stuff gets into like non-duality, and so many mystical systems get into non-duality, because when we come here and take body, part of the Mayas, the illusion, is we put on these veils of duality. And that's fine. That's just like how the game works. But then as we're liberating ourselves from that, as we are evolving, we actually wind up coming out of the trap of the duality, which is the Maya, which is illusion.
Yeah.
And part of that is understanding mystical union. And that's what so much the alchemical process is, right? That's why the hermaphroditic image is so important.
Yeah.
Is that you're trying to get back to the gold, to the heart, to the, like, the mystical union, where your ego isn't caught up in all these false games and binaries and dichotomies and either or situations.
I mean, false, I think, is a tricky Hermes word. It's not false. Like, there is day and there is night. Yeah.
It's real on one level.
Like, it's real on a really deep level.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
really deep level.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's just that we get, I think, psychologically, emotionally, our ego structure winds up taking the like blueprint and architecture of like binary reality, and then twisting it in a way where we start losing like the capacity to engage in the hermaphroditic consciousness in a way.
I mean, I think again it goes back to like that's what we are actually here to experience union in a way that the divine can't experience without separating into duality.
Yeah, totally.
So like that is why it's like that here, and that's what makes it entirely and completely real.
Yeah.
But like also it's not where we stay. It's not where consciousness stays, and that's where it breaks down and gets twisted and stuck and stagnant. It's like, no, we are divided so that we can experience union, because we've experienced separation, which is really not, it is a game, but it's a game with a really important purpose.
Yeah, you know, the phrase they keep using that Hillman references is dissolve and coagulate.
Yes.
Break down, fragment it apart,
yeah,
put it back together.
Yeah.
And that's when you look at these, like, especially like the woodcuts and the imagery,
yeah,
and like in the Middle Ages, the alchemical images are always just like,
yeah,
it's just one big like process over and over again of all these different ways to break it down and put
yep,
it back together, and break it down
yep,
and put it back together, and break it down, put it back together. And I do think that that's like, yeah, it makes sense, because really what you're doing is every phase of it is you're breaking down,
yeah,
you know, unnecessary limiting ways of creating either or categories,
mm-hmm,
you know,
mm-hmm,
and you're like, okay, this and that, they can't go together. And you're realizing, wait a second, it's not either or.
yeah.
And then what's the way that I can get this and that to go together?
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
And then you have that layer of this and that. Oh, that made the nature of the dialectic.
Yeah.
Hermes, that made a new thing.
I don't know what the word dialectic means.
Dialectic is the process that is when you have two things,
mm-hmm,
and you they relate to each other,
mm-hmm,
and they seem like two separate things,
mm-hmm,
and then you wind up creating a third thing emerges and unfolds out of the two things in a relational process.
Okay.
So I mean, like,
dialectic.
yeah, I mean, really, like the basis of having a child,
yeah,
is a dialectic,
it's dialectic
of you and your ancestors and someone else and their ancestors, and
yeah,
then some new third thing gets created between
yeah,
two people.
Yeah.
You know, and the dialectical process, Marx and Hegel talked about it a lot. It's
a psychology word.
I mean, it's a philosophy word. Hegel talked about it a lot as spiritual dialectics of how we evolve through this process. It's basically, Hegel was like, here's a mercurial philosophy of how we evolve.
Mm-hmm.
And then Marx said, okay, let's make it materialist.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's put it in the economic and political realm.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of conflict and all of this, and evolving new political and economic systems. But it's a word that's much broader than that.
Yep.
I mean, it's just like anything that is where you have, it's just like, it's really just a word to describe the quintessential Gemini mercurial process to reality of how you wind up with two things.
Yeah.
And then the two things have to create the third thing.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then it's like this funny thing, right? As you go through the process of breaking down all your false either ors, you know, and new third thing,
yeah,
you know.
Well, James Hillman was talking. Did you get? Because I feel like this is right where you were listening.
Mm-hmm.
We were listening at the same part where he was talking about the two make three, and then the three make four, and then the four make five.
Yeah, and then you wind up in the Taoist 10,000 things or whatever, you know.
Right.
But then the great mystical ambivalence of it, in a way, is that I think in the alchemical process, the more you go down the mercurial path, the spirit mercurius, the rebus, that is how the work's done. Yeah. Because remember, it's all lead.
Yeah.
And, you know, in every stage you can get stuck at.
Yeah.
And then you have to bring in more mercury, more spirit mercurius. That's what Jung was about. More rebus, you know, because otherwise you think you've, you know, really got somewhere, but then you just created a new stuckness or a new rigidity. Yeah. You know, it's very much on the spiritual path, right? Yeah. It just makes me think of like old school Ram Dass lectures.
Yeah.
Of like, you know, I've evolved that much.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wow, now you're the most stuck person in the room.
Exactly.
You know, you think you evolved so much, you know? And like, and so, but the game, I think, to keep in mind, the like nature of the mercurial quality of alchemy is that as you are playing with complexity, it's like life. Like you eventually get the Amazon rainforest level of complexity.
Yes, of biodiversity.
Yeah,
that's what biology is doing.
Ecosystem diversity, relational diversity, psychological and spiritual diversity.
Yeah.
And it's weird that the irony is that as you get more diverse, things also simultaneously get more mystically unified. And so you're doing both at the same time.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
And Dante gets into that in the sphere of Mercury.
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about in Paradiso.
Okay.
It's really interesting.
Interesting.
Totally. So
that ambivalence is that's nature.
And what is, you know what the word ambivalence means?
What?
Valor. Valor, the sacred, powerful sacred substance.
Yeah.
And ambi, the two things that seem like different states.
Yeah.
So ambivalence is not, I can't make up my mind, I'm indecisive.
Right.
True ambivalence is
Yeah.
I'm holding
to the opposites.
I can hold Mars and Venus.
Yes.
I can hold Saturn and Jupiter.
Yes.
I can be, whatever seems like it's opposite. You're like, I can hold both.
Yes.
That's ambivalence.
Okay, let's bring this into this moment. And like, I want to bring in a quote from Jung that my teacher said. This is not a direct quote from him. I'm quoting my teacher, Carolyn Elliott. She said that Carl Jung was asked, is humanity going to destroy itself with atomic bombs? And he said, and is there any way to avoid it? And he said, the only way to avoid it is for the individual to unify the opposites within themselves.
Sure.
And what that looks like in this moment in time politically. So talk about toxic duality. We have literally it is breaking down like more than it ever has before, but like everybody thinks everybody else is an idiot.
Or evil.
And like, we're just like,
totally.
And I get it. The stakes are so high, certain people who are in power are doing things that are causing other people to die. And so like stakes are fucking high. Like this is not easy work, but we have to stop projecting and being like, they're idiots. They're going to fuck it up. They're going to sink the ship. It's like, no, we're idiots. We're fucking it up. We're sinking the ship. Like we are one. We're in this together. Like,
I'm a shameless, full of compassion idiot.
And like, I mean, so my whole family are Republicans. And I'm not, but I'm also like, I am not a Democrat.
Right.
Right, and sure. My stepdad was talking about my ex the other day because he came,
like an ex-partner.
My ex-partner, he came into the house, and my stepdad has a lot of guns. And he was just like all bent out of shape about the guns. And my stepdad said, he's like, why do you have guns? My stepdad said, well, if somebody comes to my house and wants to break down my door and threaten my family, I'm going to meet him with something more than my dick in my hands.
Oh my God.
Like that's what he says to your stepdad partner at the time.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just like, and he was like railing about the memory of it. And he's like, because he's a right-wing liberal nut job. And I said, well, he thinks you're a left-wing. I was like, well, he thinks you're a right-wing conservative nut job. Totally. Like, this is not productive. This is the union of opposites. And this is how we're going to destroy ourselves if we don't accomplish the alchemy,
I mean, I feel like on the micro, you just see this in the marriage container the most.
Yeah. On
the macro, I mean, it's just war, right?
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about. Like in a lot of ways, alchemy is about peace.
Yeah.
It's about spiritually evolving. It's about alchemy is about spiritually evolving so you don't get stuck in the war, right?
Totally.
And that's why the patriarchal orthodox literalist branches of world religions persecute and destroy and murder their alchemical branches of those same religions.
Correct.
That's why,
Absolutely.
like really, dude. I mean, that's what happens. I mean, you can go to India, you can go to, obviously Christianity's had its fair share at it. That's why Dante is such a genius, because what Dante did was he wrote the most radical critique of the church and did it with renewing and preserving the whole alchemical tradition.
Yes, he did it as a Christian.
And he did it with...
This is legit Christian theology.
Yeah, totally. And he did it with so much legit backing and scholarly and just heightened discourse, right? And beauty and writing, making the Italian language, right?
And it's biblically sound. Yeah. It cannot be, it's not seen. I mean, I grew up in the church, and it cannot be seen as heretical.
Yeah, totally. It's not hereditary. Yeah, he did it so.
I mean, that is so artful to pull off that
Totally,
level
yeah.
and it not be heretical to the
Yeah.
fundamentalist Christian church,
Savvy.
like
savvy, you know. He's the ultimate savant, you
Yeah.
know, of like doing it, and it really saved and renewed all of this deep alchemical wisdom in the very end of the medieval era that helped carry it into the, you know, the modern world. I mean, it's not far-fetched to say that Dante reclaiming indigenous Judeo-Christian Abrahamic mysticism is the foundation of the Renaissance. You know,
Damn.
like that's what it is.
Damn.
And he did it in a way where the church, he had to spend his whole life in exile.
Right.
And he did it in a way that it was so popular, the church just couldn't persecute it.
Right.
And like, because it would just be like too unpopular because
it's
it was
popular and it's not heretical. It does not go against scripture.
Yeah, totally.
Like,
so Dante killed it, you know?
Yeah.
And so we're...
And Frank's bringing it back.
Trying my best.
So important.
I mean, I went to Dante's tomb this winter, you know?
I mean, it's so important. We are seeing these wars, like the heart of them that are happening on the planet are happening from the toxic dual conflict of these monotheistic religions.
Right.
And like that is why this material, that's why this scholarship and this art is so important, and it's really dense. And Frank is making it beautiful and accessible and
try my best.
Just such a joy to encounter. And when this gets published, we'll have links to all of that so people can experience, even if they're not going to be there tomorrow night. It'll be recorded, right?
Yeah, for sure. Cool. You know, Henry Corbin had this term, Abrahamic harmonica, and what he said,
he's the Sufi.
He was the one that translated. Yeah, so he was a cross Abrahamic scholar. But he's kind of most famous for he studied a lot of Swedenborg and Christian mysticism, and he studied the Old Testament and the Kabbalah and stuff, and the rabbinical stuff. But he also what he's most famous for was learning Persian and translating the Sufi mysticism with its roots in Shia Islam and Zoroastrian mysticism and bringing it to the West.
Wow.
And so that's what he was most famous. He spent a lot of time in Iran. And Henry Corbin had this term, the Abrahamic harmonica. And his argument was that harmonizes all three religions. His whole argument was that, and just so you know, I mean, so Carl Jung said the only person he's ever met in his life who understood his work truly was Henry Corbin. And Henry Corbin's whole thing was that the mystical lineages of Islam, Christianity, and Judaism are carrying the indigenous wisdom of those peoples, and that they're all saying the same thing, and they're all one religion, and it's this mystical path, and that the orthodox versions of the religions are splitting off into war and literalism and fighting with their brother, you know. Like, I mean that's it. The worst wars are not with strangers.
No, they're not.
It's the othering of the people closest to you. It's the othering of your spouse. It's the othering of your neighbors. It's the othering of Christians othering Muslims. And it's like you guys you believe the same thing.
And that is the heart of alchemy. Like in the Thoth deck, tarot deck, the Lover's card is it's the brothers. Like he brings that really forward, that this is the brothers. And so like that core conflict, that when it's harmonized, the war actually becomes peace.
Right, yeah, because that's what the peaceful is. It's the unified reality of all the things that seem fragmented and they attack each other to justify their existence or whatever. You know? All right, let's...
Wait, I'm going to say one more thing before you move on. Is that then another issue that we have is how secularized the culture is. And then, you know, we're like, half of the people can't even believe that this war is actually truly religious in nature. It just seems so absurd unless you've really either studied it deeply or been deeply a part of any of those lineage cultures, Christianity, Judaism, or Islam. It seems so absurd. And so it is seen as just the toxic expression, and the actual living wisdom that is this earth tradition that can save us all, like the Jesus core of it.
Yeah, cosmic Christ.
The cosmic Christ is not able to be engaged because of the toxicity that is shielding it.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
It's a struggle.
It's a struggle, and it's just like particularly in intellectual circles, it's like it's very, people turn their noses down at that conversation. Like that conversation, you don't talk about politics, you don't talk about religion. And
that's my two favorite things to talk about.
No.
All right, so let's say that I kind of want to talk about those 4 layers of the heat.
Yeah.
Especially with all the stuff in Aries.
Yeah.
Right. So do you want to just give like an intro of the 4 phases?
Yes.
And I have water bath, sand bath, ash bath, flame.
Yeah.
Just acquaint them with those 4 phases. I'll be back in just a second.
And you're gonna go back. Okay. I have something else that I want to say coming to me, so I'm actually gonna say that. No, I'm gonna say the 4 phases. I'm gonna hold on to it because I want you to hear it too. All right. So, this is a part of the blackening phase. So the 3 primary colors in alchemy, and they there are more colors, but the 3 primary are the white, the black, and the red, and they all have associated processes. So when we're talking about the blackening process, this is the application of heat. This is the suffering. This is the pain. This is the discomfort of alchemy. This is the cauldron. This is the belly of the cauldron. So James Hillman, and I've been listening to James Hillman just to prepare for this talk with Frank, and he's been listening to him and reading his works for a long time. So I will say this the best that I can, and then he's going to fill in the blanks. But James Hillman talks about the 4 layers of the heat, and so this is bringing it into the blackening process, and they are in orders of intensity. So we start with heat that happens at the same time as water, heat that happens with water. So this is literally like you are taking a hot bath, and the heat is delivered to your body through the water. Interestingly, okay, I'll wait until he gets back to bring this up because this brings in the solve and the coagula, the water bath portion of it. That's why I was getting really into that when I was listening to it. So we'll just stop there. The other example of the water and the heat is the double boiler. So if you're making chocolate, you're going to have a pot that's full of water, and then you're going to have a second pot that's in the water that is not directly touching the stovetop or the flame, because that will burn the chocolate. It's too delicate of a material. So you get that pot heated with the water, and then you put the chocolate in it, and it melts the chocolate, and it won't ruin the chocolate in the process. So that's water and fire, first layer. Then there's the sand bath. Frank's going to have to tell you more about that. But that is a level of intensity. Next level of intensity. So imagining like sand bath, sand turns into glass. So this is heating sand to the point that it melts and turns into glass. So then the next level is the ash. So this is, you are burning something. Imagine a forest fire. The trees and the plants and the animals are burned to the point that the air gets full of ash. So but it's not the heat of the flame. It's the heat of the actual ash, the heat that the ash is holding. I believe, and I'm not positive about this, I believe that charcoal goes here. So thinking about the coals in a fire, there's no more flame, but that really intense, just steady level of heat that the coals of the fire hold, that when tinder hits it, it will burst into flames. Like it can bring the flames, the ash can. I believe that that's correct. And then, it looks like there's a 5th. I'm not familiar with that one. The 4th level is the direct flame. So this is like, I'm getting the image of like you know, when you can like run your finger through the flame really fast and not get burned. But in the alchemical tradition, direct exposure to the flame is problematic and discouraged, like going too hot too fast, because that is going to burn out the process, and then you exit the fire and you don't actually get to go through all the entire process. So, okay, I think I covered it pretty well, but I didn't do the fifth.
Okay.
I don't
so
remember
you went through the water bath, the sand bath, the ash bath. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And I want to bring something into the water bath. I was remembering what I was really enjoying about that. So when we talk about that, I've got to.
Well, let's just go. Let's do it. Let's just start with the water bath. I got some stuff to say, but you could start.
Do you want to say the fifth part, or are we going to talk about
that? No,
okay.
That was just a little mention that, you know, I think that just sticking with those first four makes sense. And going in deep. Okay. So water bath.
I gave the example that James Hillman gave of the taking a bath in hot water,
right,
as well as the double boiler.
Right. Okay, cool. Yeah. You know, I was thinking about it a lot, and I was thinking how to begin a healing process, you have to be able to relax your nervous system.
Yeah.
And like hopping in the bath, like you don't start with hopping in the fire. You start with hopping in, you know, the warm bath where you can relax.
Yes.
And is the metaphor.
Yeah.
And that's why body work's important. That's why hypnosis works. That's why somatic therapy and presence and mindfulness and Hakomi and all these things that get you to drop in your body, feel safe and relaxed enough to feel.
Yeah.
And that's what the water bath is, the part of the process where you're even just coming back to your body in a state of peace and feeling.
Yeah.
And Hillman says, you know, we get stuck in that in the therapy process.
Yes, we do.
You know, you don't want to.
It feels good.
Yeah, you just want to go. Let me just every week I come and you just give me some empathy and like, you know, and it's just like, but you got to get out of that.
Yeah,
you don't want to get stuck in the bathtub. But the water bath, and really what it's about is it's opening up your emotions. Yeah. Your emotions are flowing.
Yeah, that's water.
You know?
Yeah.
So the vulnerability of water.
Yes.
That's the water bath.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
And I think that there's two ways to be out of balance with that. One, like you said, we can begin our healing journey and be like, oh, this is so nice. I'm just going to keep coming back for this every week. But the other way to get stuck in this, is to try and go hardcore too fast. And this is what, for me, for my healing journey, like this was a big block for me. Like I tried to go too hardcore too fast in the beginning, and like my nervous system was freaking the fuck out, and I couldn't actually drop into the deep healing that I was giving myself the opportunity to experience, because my body was just like really shutting down, because I had not first relaxed my body and my nervous system. Right. So that's the other way to take it out of balance. So, and just giving ourselves the grace, the grace and like the humility to be like, no, like I'm a sweet little animal. You're a sweet little animal. Like, let's, you know, take the time to do that caretaking of yourself.
Totally.
It's
your creature
integral.
body.
It's integral. Yeah, your creature body doesn't understand. Your body doesn't understand.
Hillman says, you know, you don't boil the water bath.
Yeah.
It's it's warm water.
Yeah.
It's the water that relaxes your muscles.
Yes.
It's not a boiling.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
If you try to, otherwise you're going to jump too fast into the ash pit or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So opening up with that. And I mean, there's a physiology to it. It really is. Your nervous system works like that, you know?
Yeah.
So then after the water.
Can't, wait, before you go on, I have to think that you cannot go forward without it because of the physiology.
Yeah,
and that's
that's
the humility of being in a body.
Yeah.
Like being in a body is humbling.
Yeah, you're not going to heal if you don't feel.
You're not going to heal if you don't feel.
You know? Like, so then.
Wait.
Okay.
So the other thing I wanted to say about the water bath that was coming to me when I was listening to James Hillman, because I've been really noticing this, and I'm going to bring it back to the astrology a little bit, that this lunar cycle that we're in right now is defining the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. And then it hit me. I was like, Saturn-Neptune is Solve at Coagula.
Right.
Because
Right.
Solve is Neptune, the dispersing,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
disillusioning, the relaxing, the releasing, the expanding. And and then Coagula, bringing back together, coming back into form.
Yeah.
That's Saturn. I mean, Saturn is the skeletal system. Saturn is manifest reality. Like we couldn't be here. Like all of my cells would fly away without
Right.
Saturn. And so that Saturn-Neptune conjunction has in its essence 0 degrees Aries, the beginning of the new world that we're now building, and we're getting this defining in this lunar cycle of how that building is going to happen. And there's the alchemical formula right there in the beginning, Solve et Coagula, Saturn and Neptune, and that's the water bath. Your muscles are all tense and tight. That's Saturn lockdown contraction. And you get in the water, which is Neptune, and that relaxation that comes and that release. And then you can expand into the next stage of the healing process. That's Neptune. And the two together are this moment in time.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
We're like at the beginning of this collective alchemical process.
Yeah,
with that conjunction.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, it's pretty far out when you think about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen every decade. It doesn't happen every century. It doesn't happen every millennia.
Not at 0 degrees Aries. Like, has it happened?
I mean, not that our computer models can tell.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's happened if you go back far enough in time.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it happened
before humans were here.
Or, I mean, maybe it happened, like the flood myth or something.
Yeah, yeah.
The super gamma radiation hitting Earth 40,000 years ago that put us all underground making cave art, like who knows when's the last time we hit.
Right.
But I have a feeling last time it happened, it was something big.
Yeah, yeah. Big.
It's like the ultimate, everything is dissolving and recoagulating.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
So, all right, you get through the water bath. You relax your body, your nervous system. You feel safe enough to feel. You have a container. It's a container. It's a bath. You're in a container. You feel safe. The water's flowing. Then you go to the sand bath. Or not the sand fire.
I didn't think bath was. Right.
Yeah, I misread.
I read sand bath and I was like, I don't remember that.
It's not a sand bath.
Okay.
It's the flame of the sand. It's the sand fire. Right. So then you're in the sand, the heat in the sand, right? So that's glass.
Okay, I was right about that.
That's reflection.
I was like, I think that's glass.
Mirror.
Yes.
Reflection. You're not just sitting in the bathtub reading books, feeling your feelings anymore. There's this, you're feeling the heat now.
Yeah.
You're really feeling it.
Yep.
You got to look at yourself.
Yep.
The way that like a glass blower, like there's like this transparency that you have to now embrace. So you felt safe enough to open up. Now you have to look at yourself.
Yeah, the transparency of glass. Yes.
You have to feel and see yourself, what's really going on.
Yeah.
And
thinking also about that glass blowing process. Like, this is not hard glass. This is like fluid, moving, malleable glass that hasn't what form will it take?
Totally. So this is the beginning. I like to think of it as like, if the water bath is you're so contracted and protected, and then you can't see yourself and feel your feels, and then you get in the water and you feel safe enough and relaxed enough to even begin to feel your stuff, and your emotions are opening up and you're getting honest and transparent about it. Then you have to look at yourself and see yourself, and you practice some detachment. You're not just lost. You sit in the bath forever, you're just lost in your feelings and sentiments, but you get to a point of where you're like starting to get the discernment's coming in. You're really seeing yourself, and you're really saying, I don't want to be like that. I did that. Don't want that. This is not okay. This is how I'm getting lost in this story.
But also the discernment is painful, because you're like, fuck, I'm like that.
Well, you're out of the nice bathtub with your novel, and you're walking on the burning sand now, and it's the summer heat, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm at the beach, and I'm walking barefoot in the sand, and it's burning my feet.
It's burning my feet, but it's like also burning your soul.
It's totally.
Yeah.
it's increasingly not comfortable.
This process is increasingly not comfortable.
You know?
The bath is really nice, and it's like the water bath exists so that we can do this.
But you can't skip the sand.
No.
You can't skip the heat in the sand.
You can't skip any of it.
Where you have to, otherwise you wind up spiritually bypassing.
Yes.
Because there is this reflective capacity that's real that takes place at this phase of the work.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're trying to jump into the ashes or into the flames.
Yeah.
And I felt some. I mean, this is, I think of ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Oh man, that really, or just whatever ceremonial reality.
Yeah.
Oh, that really opened some stuff up. And then you're trying to jump to enlightenment or whatever you're trying to do really fast, right?
Yeah.
Instead, there's this like long, slow sand. Think of sand as in an hourglass.
Yeah.
It's moving slow. Time is moving slow. Like you really like this is important to not turn the heat up too fast and too hard, and because this is the slowness of sand, so that it allows you to really sit in the reflective process long enough.
The sand in the hourglass, yes,
totally.
Yeah.
Then you wind up in the ashes. Mm-hmm. So this is the flame and the heat. This is like the coals in the ash pit.
Okay, I got that right too. I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm right on the sand and the ash. The ash is like the coal. Yeah,
totally. So I mean, like where coal's hidden, they're always covered in ashes. Yeah. Right.
Yes.
So now we're like, it's almost like I don't know. I mean, like, without crossing metaphors too much, I almost think of the water bath is almost like cancery. Mm-hmm, can we just heat it up and get emotionally in tune here and and then the sand, I don't know, it kind of makes me think like Virgo. We're getting reflective, we're getting serious, we're cutting through the crap. I'm not just lost in my feelings. I have discernment. And then the coals in the fire is like getting more into like later in the zodiac where you have like Sag is like the coals in the fire, but then it's with it's next to the coals are with ash, and that's very Saturnian too, Yes. So we're like now we're in like the Saturn and Sag area of the zodiac, right? Yeah. And the ashes, God, I mean, I was tripping out earlier today thinking about this, like so the ashes. In Layla Majnun, the famous folktale, the Sufi folktale, when he basically is at rock bottom, he rides through the desert, and he's a famous poet, and he's singing. There's no one to listen. He sang his love songs about the beloved, and it just made it wound up creating a war and killing half her family. And it was, it's like a Romeo and Juliet vibe.
Gotcha. Okay, I haven't heard you tell this story.
Yeah, and then he winds up heartbroken after this war, and he's isolated, and he's roaming around the desert, singing his love songs to the ashes and abandoned campfires. So like think of that, right? Like the ashes of it's like the deepest grief now. So you've seen yourself, and now this is the greater turf. Like there's like if you dig in there enough, there's coals, but the ashes are just full of the ash pits, dude. Cinderella. Yes. The exile of the family, the one that's oppressed, the very Saturnian nature, right? And like all these different ash metaphors. Yeah. In Malidoma Some, used to do rituals where Dagara rituals, but I'm sure I've seen this in more than one place, where you put ashes on. Yes. Because the old belief is your ancestors can't see you if you don't have some ash on. Hillman talks about in the ash fire, he talks about Palm Sunday, and your third eye is getting the ash. Yes. So it's like all this stuff is the ash work, and in order to get in touch with your third eye, in order for your ancestors to see you in this material world, there's some deepening of grief. Yep. And I wonder what.
I wonder if they can still see us.
I don't know. We'll find out. Yep. Okay. Cool. Okay. So you have to go to the ashes. Yeah. And the ashes are the bridge from first I'm in my suffocated, I'm just feeling back in my body in the emotional world. Then I'm in this deeper discernment of the psychological process and seeing myself in detachment. Then I'm able to hold deep grief.
Yeah.
And I'm building a bridge to the ancestral world. I'm building a bridge to, the spirit world.
Yeah.
And that's what the ashes are doing.
Yeah.
And you have to be, but it means sitting in the discomfort of the fucking abandoned campfire ash pit.
And the devastation.
Totally.
This is like when the house burns down.
Right.
Like, fuck, it's all gone.
Yep. Totally.
It's gone. Yep. Like you said, the lover wandering in the desert with nothing except an ash pit to sing to.
Yeah, so that's what we do. We wind up in the ash pits, and it's the deepest grief. But then the last fire, the clean flame, that's the phoenix. The phoenix comes out of the ash pit, right? And so then you wind up with the clean flame, and that's like these are phases of annihilating your ego, if you think about it. Like you start off completely in your ego. Then you kind of get into your feelings in your body, which is like, it's nice to get out your ego. This is actually like helping me. And then you're like, wait a second, I need to really freaking see this thing. And then you're like, okay, actually I need to go to the depths of it. Like this is like soul descent, catastrophe, ash pits. And then, that what that's doing is it's like trying to annihilate your ego. And then it's the clean flame, and that's the alchemical gold,
So he was saying, because but like something, and I don't think I got far enough to see where he was going with it, because he was saying in alchemy, and he may have actually been talking about outer alchemy, like metal processes.
Sure.
He was talking about actually it being, maybe he wasn't saying avoiding he was saying that it's recommended to avoid the direct flame, because that stops the process. But I think what we're getting at here, I think where he was
until you're ready
with it is the build up. You've got to build up to it.
He's constantly saying, be careful. Don't
do that too fast.
You can't jump in the fire until you're ready.
Yeah.
You don't take if you take a teenager ego, or you take a adult with a regressed teenager ego, like an adolescent culture, like a pathos adolescent culture that we live in, and you try to throw those people in the flames, they go crazy.
You try to throw them in an ayahuasca circle?
Or imagine taking a normal American and then being like, sit in the dark in a cave for 40 days and 40 nights,
lose their mind.
They'll go insane.
Totally. You can't.
Like, it's like MK Ultra. Like, here you go, let's dump a bunch of acid on you, and then you're like a schizophrenic after that.
Yes, exactly. And that doesn't help anybody.
So I mean, like,
I think that is what he was getting at. You have to go through these stages properly. In order to fully engage each one.
Totally. It takes time. It's a process. It's why, the gods don't, you don't get all your karma dumped at you at once. It's these cycles of time, of unfolding. And that's why it's important on the spiritual path. You don't go from, some people do because they're so magical, right? But like most people are not going to go from normal life to full-blown mysticism.
Right.
You go from normal life to being a seeker.
Yes.
And you go through the stages of seeking.
Yes.
And then till you get to the point of realizing, Dante makes this really clear. He starts in exile. The journey to the underworld through Inferno is the journey of exile.
Right.
You start in exile, and then carrying your wounds unconsciously. With all your protection patterns, and greed and hunger and all this stuff, and then you realize as you purge purgatory, as you do the alchemical work of earth and you purge, you wind up being a pilgrim. And the pilgrim's a seeker,
recognizing that you're a pilgrim.
You recognize you're a
pilgrim. We are all pilgrims here.
But
we're all alchemists. We're all pilgrims. But in that stage,
you wake up to the consciousness of being a pilgrim. You're on a journey.
You're not
you're not in exile. You're on a journey.
You're on a journey.
You're not abandoned as an orphan.
Yes.
You're on a journey, right? Then, but here's the thing. What I've realized this morning, looking at Paradiso, is that after being a pilgrim, which is the seeker, the spiritual seeker, you get to the phase of spiritual development that, and this is the Sufis talk about this, is the difference between the seeker and the mystic, is that you realize you're actually just on a sojourn. You're not even a pilgrim. You're not even rediscovering the journey in your own home. You realize you're just a guest in the first place, which is kind of like the mirror. Like this is the polarity between that and exile. It's like, oh wait, actually that exile thing where I felt like I didn't fully belong here. Actually, I'm just a guest here.
That is actually true, but it's not like that.
But it's not this toxic, like insecure place of being a guest here. It's like, oh, I'm like a mystical soul traveling cosmic adventurer that's a guest here, but you have to go through
that's cool.
You have to go through purgatory and the pilgrimage and the body and earth, or else you're just spiritually bypassing.
You're either spiritually bypassing or you're stuck in the twisted toxic
escape pattern. Totally in fantasy. So that's the journey. Exile, pilgrim, sojourner, you know. And so that's like a good place to it's a good place to be, and it's good to understand the long, slow nature of that process that takes, you know,
a lifetime.
It takes multiple lifetimes, right? In all sorts of ways. Lifetimes, here we are, you know, but I think that whatever's happening in this Saturn Neptune coagulation of 2026, I feel like Earth is about to get in hyper
and coagulation. Like it's both. It's like at the same time right now.
We're getting hyper speed spiritual initiation grown up vibes like on Earth this year, you know. And so this like,
you know, like seeing really the ways in which like we are maturing and we are immature.
Last thing I'll say is that in this journey, remembering the rebus, remembering the hermaphrodite, you know, I see myself every day. You know, I've been doing dark retreats, meditating in caves for years now, right? I see myself every day go through exile, pilgrimage, sojourner. It just weaves in and out. And here we are in the big dialectical ambivalence and biodiversity of my own ecosystem. You know? Like I'm just like, and that's it. So let's just play that game. It's the beautiful alchemical journey. And and I like how
flow in it.
You know, the phrase that Bayo Kumalafe uses that I've heard other people use that's kind of become popular is that there's no arrival. You know, it's all good. You're exactly where you need to be. You've already arrived. And there's no arrival. So hold on that.
Perfect. Beautiful.
So you got any closing words? You good?
I feel good. I feel complete. I'm a little distracted in the past like 2 minutes because I think that Adira was our "it's time for dinner" angel.
Oh, the kid just walked by.
She just walked by, and I think it's time for dinner. So that's where my brain went. But I feel like we're at a good closing point. It's a beautiful conversation, Frank.
No, thanks.
Thank you. This will be published. For those of you who are here now, let's put some links in the. Let's put some links here. Let's put a link to what your Instagram, if anybody wants to like last minute hop on Zoom or come to the mountain tomorrow.
Oh yeah. So Medicine of the Starry Heavens.
Okay, so Frank is doing Paradiso tomorrow. And you can find out about it here.
We're about done.
We are wrapping up, love.
So if you want to hop on, there's a link. You can follow the social media through to the Zoom link. And tomorrow night we're doing Dante's Journey Through Paradise under the stars around a fire.
In Asheville.
If you're in the Barnardsville, Asheville area, come on. And otherwise, hop on Zoom and you can get the transmission through that other type of light.
It works. It works. It's good stuff. And then you can also get Inferno and Purgatory.
Oh yeah, I haven't recorded. So.
Yep, they're recorded. Cool. Okay, are you gonna go away for the goodbye? All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, friends.
Thanks so much for joining us. It's been real. It's been lovely, and more soon for the next lunation.
Peace.
Later.